Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
Oh, man. Let me let you know a little behind the scenes of the Flyover Conservative podcast. We like to talk to people and talk about topics that we're super interested in.
Yes.
And if we weren't doing a show, I'm with my kids or business associates and things. We talk about how can we be healthier?
Yep.
How can we make wise choices with our money? How can we raise great grandkids and great grandkids? You're like, well, how can you raise a great grandkid? You're not even going to meet them. That means I need to be setting things in motion with my kids so that they end up being a worthless piece of garbage that's a leech and a parasite on society. That they're a contributor that's carrying on wisdom. And
and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
But those things don't happen by accident. You have to be very intentional what you're putting in your mind. What are you reading? The words that are coming out of your mouth. That you're being in check with your own emotions. Or getting sucked into drama. What am I doing? What am I doing to maintain greatness within my own line?
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, within my own self. But how do I carry that on? Well, you need good ideas coming in. You can't have a strong body living on Wonder Bread and peanut butter sandwiches.
And Snickers.
You need some steak. You need some limes so you don't get scurvy. You need some good things in you. One of the best sources of that, and why we do this episode every single Friday, is I think being an entrepreneur. Even if you're an entrepreneur and you're working for a company, but you want to know how do I move the needle? How do I become irreplaceable in a world where people people are being replaced by technologies. How do I make it so if I took a day off, they're hurting?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do I add so much value? Well, somebody who does that better than anyone that I've ever met. I got business associate friends that have yachts and have built billion-dollar companies and have done a lot of great things, but I've never met a human that moves the needle in whatever room he's in, quite like the author of How to Build a Successful Business and countless other books that I find out all the time that were written by the one, the only Clay Clark.
Yeah.
I come with good news from Tulsa, Jerusalem, Super Dave. And on today's show, I really want to talk about this topic of how can you stay fired up and avoid burnout? How can you just stay fired up and avoid burnout? Because no one would want to watch your great show here, Dave, if you and Stacy hopped on the show and said, "Welcome to the Flyover Conservatives, where the foot burned out on today's show." Yeah. No one would want to watch the show if Colton hopped on the show and said, "On today's show, we're probably going to talk to a person about a subject." Because no one wants to be a part of watching somebody live life through burnout. People want to be around somebody who's on fire. And so today, on today's show, Dave, we have a biblical answer. And I encourage everybody out there, if you want to take your income and your life to the next level, you want to grab a pen and a pad. Because, Dave, we are going to enter into the lab in the dojo of Mojo Faux Show.
Love it. I'm so excited to learn.
I love it, and that's an important thing. And I said this in the intro. I don't care if somebody is you're working at a large company, or maybe you got a side thing going on your own. The things you need to do to manage your home and move the needle there are the same things to be irreplaceable at a job, or if you're starting something and you have to be the engine that gets everything moving because you're the owner, you're the CEO and the trash guy, you're everything inside of a small startup, like whatever it is. You have to predetermine a standard in your life of what is excellence and how do I maintain that, because life attacks that each and every day. It's easy to be jaded. The hardest thing we've ever done is maintaining a high level of mental enthusiasm while doing a podcast, because you're basically sifting through the sandbox of life and looking at the cat turds that are there. and that's what's called the news cycle. And finding, okay, how do we navigate in the? I'm not denying.
And find hope and truth.
I'm not denying the cat turds are there, but how do we navigate in a way that we can still build sandcastles in that?
There's literally a cat turd.
There's literally a cat turd in there, and you can follow him on Twitter as well. But there are, and so it's not denying that. But a lot of people that becomes their consumptive thing of it's too hard. Employees suck, the economy's tough, this is bad, there's too much there's all these things, and if you don't set that standard for yourself, by yourself, like in the shower with nothing else, I'm going to have a great day. You become jaded and you become like the world.
You are 100% correct. And as we get into this, I want to share a success story. Your producer has the video clip, and I want to tee this up real quick. I just want to play the first let's say 30 seconds of this success story, because the person in the video is very normal. He happens to be a longtime client of mine, and I'll never forget our first interaction. He says, "Hey, I've listened to your show for 6 years." Now, he said this 5 years ago, so that's 11 years. We're going back 6. He started listening to our show 6 years ago. He's been a client for 5 years. So for 11 years, he's been listening to my podcast. He reaches out and he says, "Hey, I've got this idea that I want to sell concrete blocks." So if you've ever driven down the highway and you see the concrete blocks they use for construction, they'll put those barriers up. So when you go off the shoulder of the road, you don't go off the road. You just run into the barrier. He sells these concrete blocks. He says, "Hey, I've got an idea. I think that I could be like the concrete block supplier for America." And he said, "If you were me, how would you do it?" And I said, "Well, what we'd have to do is we'd have to build a first-class website, world-class website. Then we need to optimize it nationally. So when somebody's typing in, and I encourage your producer to maybe look it up on the screen so people can see, if someone types in concrete block supply anywhere in America, you need to come up top. If they're in San Diego, they're in California, there he is, concrete block supply. They're in Dallas, they're in anywhere in the country, they need to find you. And when you click on that site, people need to find you, again, no matter where they are." And he says, "How do you do that?" And I said, "Well, you're going to need," and this is real conversation. So we're going to need to probably write minimum, just doing my analysis, and this took some research, but about 1,500 articles, 1,000 words of content per page. We'll need to get about the equal amount of reviews. We're going to need to get about the equal number of video clips and about the equal number of images. And if we do that, just every week, we break down that 1,500 into small goals, you can get there. And he's like, "Okay, let's go." And so we started doing it. We're working at it. Well, now he makes more money every month than most people make in a decade.
Wow.
Come
Every
on.
month. And it's online. It's largely online. It's a nationwide company. He actually makes things and builds things. So for anybody watching today's show, if you make things and build things, it's like a kind of like online retail meets construction. And when we think of this idea, we might think of it's going to be a super like a celebrity. You got to have a Kardashian behind it. We got to have a celebrity. There's got to be some viral video that led to the success. There's got to be a really witty, snappy homepage commercial that really moves the needle and gets people excited. There's got to be some sort of virality to it. There's got to be
Some sizzle.
but there's not. It's a guy who's very relatable. And if we could play this video, he's a beautiful man. So try not to cry, folks. But this video testimonial.
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me. Listened to this show for a long time, so it feels surreal to be on here. My name is Luke Boddy, B-O-D-D-Y. So I always say it's B-O to the double D-Y, yo. And my company is called Concrete Block Supply.
And I'm not asking you to share about your financial numbers, but I think it's safe to say you've had exponential growth. Maybe that's a safe way to say it. You've had exponential growth. Is that a safe way to describe the growth that you've had there at Concrete Block Supply?
Yeah, we've done pretty well. Yeah, we've been working together almost 4 years. So it was something that, just listening to your show, I probably listened to, 1,000 of your podcasts. And it was like, hey, as soon as we get going, I'm going to bring these guys on. It seems like a great fit and will be perfect for us. So we did build just like a cheaper website to like get proof of concept, get it going. And then 6 months into it, that's when we hired you guys. So it was like December of 2021.
Folks, there are a million ways to make $1 million. There's a million ways, and on the Thrive Time Show, here we go. I just want everybody to know. That's a
wow.
Very real guy, killing the game. And I don't meet. We have 160 clients. So I don't meet with every single client myself. And I was going over the wins, the success with one of the coaches, and I said, "How's Luke doing?" Because we go over this every week, and we track the numbers, and you look at the numbers, and I make sure no clients are drifting. And he goes, "Well, he's doing this much per month," and I'm going,
How much?
you say per month? Because he did a yearly total in the month. And he's
Wow.
going, yeah. And he's doubling again. And so I just encourage everybody out there, you can do it. So I want to break it into practical steps here. So step number one. Okay.
Can I ask you a question before you get into that? Just a side note there, I couldn't help but notice this guy why is he so kind of anti-deer?
He likes to intimidate them. He hangs their heads on his wall.
It's one thing I can understand like deer meat is good for you and all that, but like that's a major flex to the deer community. It's sending a signal out there. If you're a deer, I'm coming for you.
I'm coming.
That guy
Oh,
is.
man. Now,
September's right around the corner.
I want to just tell everybody, this guy started, we charge clients $1,700 a month, okay? So he reached out and it was like, hey, $1,700, we're kind of pre-revenue. Mm-hmm. And that was his expense. That was his budget. And how I get paid, folks, is I like to make a small percentage of the growth. And we've just diligently done it. And this guy is killing the game. Now we get into step number one. How do we do it? The Bible tells us that we're supposed to work as unto the Lord. You say, really, where does it say that? Okay. Well, the Bible talks about in the book of Genesis that God gave Adam the garden to work that thing. Okay. That's Genesis chapter 2. Read it. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but God gave Adam the garden to work that thing. All right. The word vocation, what? The word vocation means calling. Everybody think about it. The word vocation means calling. Okay. The word vacation means to retreat from. Okay. The Bible was written for Adam. It was written to describe patterns, God's view on things. It was a God-inspired book, the God-inspired book called the Bible. And so the pattern that was established is that we are given, Adam was given this garden to work it, okay? Not to retreat from it, okay? He was supposed to tend that garden, to work that garden. And I think somebody out there needs to really read Genesis chapter 2. And the Lord took the man and put him in the garden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. God wants him to work that thing. So God wants you to work that thing. Now, the Hebrew word for work means worship. And the word in Hebrew for worship means work. So what I am saying is if the only time that you worship God, quote unquote, is during that 15 or 20 minute session before church, There's something wrong with the way you're doing it. You say, am I doing it right? No, you are not doing it right if you are only worshiping during the praise and worship session of your work, the praise and worship session of your church. You need to work as unto the Lord. And that was such a mindset shift for me so many years ago, almost 20 years ago, and I discovered that my work was my worship and my worship was my work. I want to worship. I'm going to work as unto the Lord. Just that idea of I'm not working as unto man, I am working as unto the Lord. Another Bible verse coming in hot, Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto man, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. And I'm not bragging on myself, I'm just giving you an example. There's a very famous household name who called me yesterday and said, hey, boss, congratulations. You know that the book we've been working on, that book we've been doing for a long time, and I want to share the name of the book, but I can't yet. He says, you know that book, that manuscript you've been working with me on? I said, yeah. He goes, we just got a big, like the biggest nationwide book deal on that manuscript.
Come on.
Wow, that's so exciting.
Hot. And I said, so what do you want to do? He's like, well, you got to bring your kids. You got to be a part of this, man. I want you to see this launch. This is so exciting. But that's exciting that my kids get to be a part of the book launch and see the success of it. But what people don't understand is when I'm editing the book, when you're editing the book, when we aren't working, I am not working for that client. I am not working for the man whose book I'm editing. I am working as unto the Lord. So when he got his manuscript back, he says, dude, you caught more errors. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good writer. I didn't recognize how many errors, grammatical errors I had on that. He said, how did you do it? I go, because I am obsessed with working as unto the Lord. Shifting gears back to our concrete guy. This guy is obsessed with working as unto the Lord. He wows every single customer. Shifting gears. I know this, Stacy, because you and Dave and I, we've talked about this offline. I know Colton, we've talked about this offline. You do the Flyover Conservatives podcast as both a business, yes, but it is a ministry. I mean, you guys put this show out to encourage people, to empower people, to inspire people, to break down what's going on in the world from a Christian perspective, and you're doing it as unto the Lord. You're not doing it for ratings or clicks or impressions or for false validations. You're doing it because you're doing it as unto the Lord. And I want to get your thoughts, Stacy. When you guys do every single show, people don't know this, but off air, you guys pray before you do every show. Why? Why do you pray before you do every show?
Yeah, we really do feel like that this show was given to us by the Lord, that he called us. Dave and I were on a walk one day, and he told us that the Christian conservative movement had taken a pride in being part of the silent majority. And he said, it is time for you to wake up, speak up, and show up. And he told us that when we started Flyover Conservatives, that every show had to have truth in it, but it also had to have hope. Because if you ever felt hopeless, it was seated in a lie because God was taken out of the equation. So before we do every show, we give this show to the Lord. And I love what you're saying there, Clay, about this whole thing of work and worship. I remember several years ago, David and I and Colton were going through Bethel School of Ministry, and Bill Johnson was taking his daughter-in-law and his son to a service one day, and his daughter-in-law was a worship leader, and she said, "Okay, mom hat off, worship hat on."
She had younger kids, and they were kind of acting chaotic and crazy, and she was, trying to get her hair fixed up, and so she was like, saying that in conjunction with the fact like her kids were just acting crazy.
Exactly, and Bill Johnson looked at her and he said, "Your worship hat should never come off. It should always be on, no matter what you're doing. If you're a mom, if you are working a job, or if you are leading worship at church, that worship hat should never come off." And that really hit me at the time that, man, it should be in everything that you do. Worship is a part of your life. It's a part of every breath that you take. You are worshiping.
This is one of these time capsule shows that everybody needs to listen to twice. It's one of these shows you'll want to go back to. It's a perpetual show. It's a renewal show. It's a reinvigoration show. It's a show that people need to watch multiple times, not because of me, not because of you guys. It's because this message is so powerful. Yeah. Step number 2 here, okay? Step number 2. This is very, 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 very big. Ask yourself, in the last 24 hours, did you work as unto the Lord? I mean it. And it comes out, it manifests itself through the words we say. And I'll give you an example. And I'm not saying this to brag on myself, but it's a true story. I was talking to a young man moments ago, and he says, "How many podcasts do you do?" And I said, "I get to record as many as I want, but I try to do 5 or 6 a day." He said, "What do you mean you get to?" I said, "Brother, I love every show we do, it's like a message in a bottle that gives a message of hope, of inspiration, of training to somebody out there. And I can't tell you how excited I am every time I run into somebody who says, you know that one show you did 4 years ago on that one podcast? And I frankly don't remember it, but I go, well, what show? And they go, that one really fired me up about ABC 123. And I'm just saying, as a podcaster, that's exciting for me to see that. But I also own a haircut chain. And I've got a lady coming to my office here. It's a true story. She's going to be coming here. Her name is, let's pull it up here. Her name is Abigail.
Okay.
And apparently her husband had a great haircut and then was very happy. And he said, I want to go ahead and tip $20 on my card. And one of our cashiers accidentally typed in $30 instead of $20, and thus they were charged $10 more than they wanted. And they looked at their credit card receipt, and they were like, hey, they're kind of in a tighter budget. And they're like, hey, we agreed to tip 20, not 30. And they're generous tippers. And so she called into the call center and just said, hey, I was overcharged. And I said, well, hey, why don't you come to the office today, come here at 11:30, and I'm going to give you $100, and I'll shake your hand. She goes, what? And I go, well, your stylist was telling me that you and your husband like to go to In the Raw. It's a restaurant in town, and it's about $100, I think, to go there. And so I want to give you $100. She's like, why would you do that? I go, I don't know. My goal is to wow you. That's what I do. That's my worldview. And she's like, unbelievable. Well, we've already signed. This is a true story. I almost like complaints because we got 2 members already this morning that came in because this lady was telling people, the crazy owner of Elephant in the Room, I called about a $10 issue. He gave me $100. I'm going to go pick it up today. And she's like, do you guys do conferences? She had no idea. I mean, just the momentum that creates in your life when you approach things that way. If it's all, and I know not every time the story doesn't end well, but if you will just work as unto the Lord and not as unto human masters, it is so powerful. Back to this book thing. I have a compensation agreement. I want to get paid, right? But if I do get paid or don't get paid, that's between that person and God. But what's between me and God is the book hot? Is it great? Yeah. Is it awesome? Is it exciting? So that's a big idea. I'm asking you right now, audit yourself. Have you been working as unto the Lord in the last 24 hours? And if not, ask yourself how you can improve. Step number 3, and I want to get Colton's thoughts on this, is, again, we have to work as unto the Lord and not as unto human masters. And I want to hone in on that. Not as unto human masters. That can be really tough. And maybe Colton never feel like this, but when you put out the truth on the Flyover podcast, and maybe you don't feel like this, maybe I just feel like this, but man, when you put out the truth, there's some people that go in those comments and go, oh, you want to put out the truth? Well, I'm going to tell you that they're going to come after you double barrel. They are frustrated because they're not, and all of a sudden, if you're not careful, we may craft what we say to not work as unto the Lord, but work as unto man.
Yeah.
Or like at my haircut business, we have a standards we do. It's a men's only haircut place. And if I start changing the definition of genders, I might make certain people happy, but then I might disappoint the Lord. And I want to get your thoughts on that, Colton, because you're a young whippersnapper. You were born closer to yesterday. We're in a world where the moral standards are changing everywhere.
Yep.
What's your mindset to working as unto the Lord and not to the standards of the world?
I have a couple different instances in my life where that really popped up. One was actually back in school. I remember talking to Dad about this subject in school. I wasn't naturally inclined towards it. I didn't like it. I honestly don't remember what it was. I think it was English class or something. It felt very objective. Like you just get these red marks on your paper and you're not exactly sure why. Like math, 2 + 2 = 4. You kind of get it. You see it. It's very clear. English, it was like you get taken down because of the tone of voice, whatever. And I remember talking to Dad. And I was just so frustrated. I was like, man, I don't understand this. And he said, well, I was like, why am I even taking this class? Like, what is the purpose of this? Do you even use this stuff in the real world? And he's like, it has nothing to do with what you use in the real world or what you don't use in the real world. It has everything to do with you doing your best, because what you do now becomes a habit, and those habits eventually will make you very successful. It has nothing to do with the grade you're getting in high school right now. And so he's like, practice doing your best, and eventually that will serve you really well. Like, actually make the habit doing your best. And then later in life, I thought I was really special. I was 18 years old. I was like, hey, I'm raised in this house. I got these, success principles, whatever. And the only job that I could find, I applied everywhere. I mean, I went out and gave applications.
You're bilingual too?
I lived in California. I was bilingual, and I was a hard worker, and I was positive, optimistic, and I did show up really well. But I went out and I tried to apply to all these different places. I applied 60 different places and only got one one job is washing dishes at the steakhouse, and I hated it. Every day I went to this dish pit, and I just remember like, you stink and you're covered in water and you got butter and
people treat you bad.
People treat you bad and all this stuff. And I remember Dad, again talking to me because he took me out to breakfast once a week, and I was living on my own, but he would pour into me every week, and we talk and hang out, and I was talking about washing dishes. I'm like, I'm in this dish pit, and he said, continue to pour positive things into yourself. Continue when you're in your car listening to positive things. Continue to think positively, even in the dish pit. Like, be thankful, like have this great spirit. He said, because if you put a basketball at the bottom of a pool and it's flat, it's really easy to keep it at the bottom of the pool. But if you continue to pump that basketball full of air, you can't keep that thing down. And he said, in life right now, you're at the bottom of the pool. But if you just keep pumping yourself up, not just like hype and motivation, but genuinely full of positive things. You're listening to
good
shows
ideas.
like this, you're good ideas. You're listening to the Thrive Time show. You're going to conferences like Thrive Time show conference. You're pumping yourself full of life. You cannot stay at the bottom of the pool for very long. You're going to pop to the top. You're going to have enough things that pop you up to the top. And I look at that season of my life, and it was not very long. The bosses that were treating me horribly, eventually I was making significantly more than they were. Eventually my life was significantly better than theirs was. Like the things that they were treating me bad eventually inverted because I really spent the time in private pumping myself up full of positive things, full of good ideas,
yeah.
full of great things. And so then in public, eventually my life reflected
So good.
And you became
I hope
unemployable
somebody
at
out
that
there's-
place too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are at a job and they're like, I'm better than this. I should get, and they'll want to wait until they get a position worthy of it before they perform at that. Like if I was in charge around here, here's what I would do. If you took, who's the guy that wrote the Unreasonable Hospitality?
Yeah. Will Guidara.
If you take a Will Guidara, it's an incredible book, Unreasonable Hospitality. If you took him and put him as a dishwasher at an Outback Steakhouse, within 10 minutes, people would be like, what is he doing here?
Yeah.
He wouldn't fit, and he would do the job with excellence, but he would be
Right.
so far, he'd be a fish way
Above and
way
beyond.
too big for that tank.
Yeah.
The life would have to promote him because he's doing the lowest level task with the highest level of excellence. And, someone's going to recognize that, but if not else, life will, God will, you'll outgrow that spot.
So good.
This
So
is,
good.
folks, I'm telling you, this is one of these shows you're going to want to watch 2 or 3 times because it applies to every single person watching this. Now, step number 4, you could have all the work ethic in the world. You could be working as unto the Lord. But if we want to monetize that, so if you're watching today's show and you want to monetize that, you say, I love what you're saying. And I have, if you're watching this, you say, objectively, Clay, I volunteer at my church and I do it well. I work at my job and I do it well. Man, I have a job and I am getting there early. I'm putting in the work. Sometimes you're in an industry that's not monetizable. So let me just give an example. I happen to work with people in multiple different industries, so I see thousands of opportunities. I'm not kidding. I see thousands of opportunities, thousands of them, okay? And so one of my clients I work with right now, he's very, very, very successful, lucrative in the pool maintenance business in Texas. And I'm seeing this guy, and he's going, man, I'm making this much per month. I get a monthly fee to maintain the pool. I am making money. Wow. But I'm kind of capped now. I can only make X amount per month. And by the way, this guy's netting more money than most people make every 5 months. He's netting every month. So he's doing great. And I'm going, why aren't you willing to clean the inside of their house? You clean the pool. Why not the rest of the house? And he's like, because I'm not a house cleaner. I'm a pool cleaner. I'm like, okay. And so we keep kind of coming back to that every 45 days or so. And on this morning's call, he was like, I was talking it over with my wife, and I think I'm going to start doing home cleaning in the house too. I go, why? He goes, because there's a lot of money being spent in the home. I mean, and I'm just, so what happens is we have these weird boundaries we put on ourselves where, well, I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, I'm a lawyer, I'm a marketing guy, I'm a sales guy, I'm an accountant. I can't do, but if you'll just throw all that out and say you are a child of God.
Yeah.
And all you are is a child of God, and you're sent here to render service and to add value, work as unto the Lord. All of a sudden, you start to discover a lot of polymaths. And I'm not saying you're going to agree with the religious philosophies of these people I'm referencing, but a polymath is somebody who is great in multiple things. You say, what's a polymath? Okay, tell me what Benjamin Franklin's profession was.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Was he
a
an
great
inventor?
point.
The printer
Was he
to
a
start with,
postman?
but sure, he outgrew it.
Oh, yeah.
He started the
People-
fire department, started the first library in Philadelphia. He invented spectacles in the elevator, and he just solved problems for a living. Really, the rest of his life. He was an amazing printer, an amazing writer, and then just kind of found problems and solved it. For the majority of his life.
That's what you do. You just solve problems. And so if you were to sit here, folks, and you'd send a team, there was a team from Epoch Times. They recently traveled to Tulsa to do this, not an investigative thing, but it's more of like a colonoscopy of business where we're going to get uncomfortable and look at everything and see what it's really like. And if we like it, we might write a good review or a bad review, but do you mind if we do that? And I said, no problem. I like you guys. So they came here, and one of the guys who was doing the interview, he said, I have never seen somebody who's writing rap songs during a third of their day, writing books during a third of the day, and then growing companies a third. I've never seen that thing. I've just never seen that. He's like, I go, well, I think you would see that more if less people had gone to college where they were taught about specialized knowledge.
Yeah.
But
so
in
good.
terms of on a farm, you have to be kind of a mechanic. You have to be sort of a guru of fixing, things. You have to be also a guy who's an expert at fencing. These are all separate industries now.
And a veterinarian.
You have to be a bard, remaker, remodeler, home remodeler. What, Dave? A chicken raising guru, a poultry expert, a bovine. You have to really.
Well,
and so we get
some of
specialized.
what messes that up too, Clay, is our idea of monetization. I remember. I don't know, I was in my early 30s, and there's not a musical person in my family anywhere. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, not one of them play an instrument or anything like that. But I kind of thought I'd like to play the guitar. That'd be kind of fun. And so I took lessons, and I'm practicing every day. And I remember talking to friends. They're like, what are you going to do? Like join a band, or are you going to try to be an American Idol? Like they had to associate learning a new skill to how is it monetizable. And I'm like, no, there's 2 groups of people in the world, people who can play the guitar and people who can't. And I'm now at the bottom rung of the people who can, but I now can. And it's amazing working my mind in the discipline of playing a little bit every day and your fingers hurt. And, it helped me in a lot of other areas. This idea of taking on more and learning more, it's not siloed to just that one thing. It's like, okay, now I understand I can communicate with this person. I understand, you have no idea the neuron connections and stuff you're making by learning a new skill or studying, a new thing. That's why I think, farmers are so amazing and are so useful because you can't be like, well, I'm not the fence guy. Well, of course you are. Well, I'm not the veterinarian. Well, your veterinarian's it's gonna be $1,000 to get this. Okay, well, I guess I could figure it out myself. That the willingness to take on new skills, it applies in areas you would never expect. You now see situations from multiple angles because you did this other thing, even if it's not monetizable at step 1.
This is so powerful. And I folks, I hope we're all taking notes as we go through these 7 steps. Okay, so step number 5, this is very, very important for everybody watching. Again, if you're watching today's show, dial in here because I'm telling you, if you are actually working as unto the Lord, you're never going to get burned out. Now, if you are trying to sell fish, you'll become selfish. Think about it. If you are just only trying to sell fish, you'll become selfish. But if you are working as unto the Lord, you will never get burned out. What am I saying? Why would you? Let me give you an example. I used to play basketball in high school at a fairly high level, and we would play 3-on-3 tournaments. And I do this with billiards now. I'm an adult, so I can't play basketball to that level, but if I do the whole little billiard thing, and I'll tell somebody, what's this game we're playing? I'm going to bet $10 on it. If you lose, you don't have to pay me, but if I lose, I pay you $10. They go, why are you doing that? Because I need some energy. I need some intensity about this game. I need it to matter. Let's go. And so I was playing James the other day in billiards, and to be honest, he smoked me game 1, he smoked me game 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not normal. So I make a comeback. Anyway, I end up losing $30 in about an hour from James. He took advantage of me. But all I'm saying is it created a little bit of excitement there because I was having fun. There was an energy and urgency to it. And that's how when I played basketball in high school, I do this all the time. I'm like, hey, you guys want to play 3-on-3? You'll play 3-on-3? Didn't matter where I was. I'm like, I bet you guys $80 I can beat you. We can beat you. And they're going, what? Because I just had to get some sort of energy. I'm not recommending copious gambling, although Michael Jordan was a big fan of it. I don't think we should do that. What I do think we should do, though, is we should have some urgency to what we're doing. And that urgency should be like, man, I'm performing in front of the Lord. It's an audience of 1. I don't care what people say. All I want is heaven saying amen. All I want is to look up and go, You know, if God thinks I'm doing good, that's all. I have an audience of one. I just got to wow that. And you won't get burned out if you're focused on wowing and working as unto the Lord. But once you be kind of, you kind of despiritualize your job and you make it just about selling fish, selling a product, all of a sudden you become very selfish, and all of a sudden you don't have the motivation to continue going. So I encourage everybody, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, we do these business workshops. We have Eric Trump coming September 25 and 26. We have Eric Trump. We have Tim Tebow.
It's a great
coming to our
event.
conferences. And Eric, we might not agree with Eric on everything. I don't think anybody agrees with anybody about everything. But one thing I'll tell you that everybody agrees with is Eric's work ethic is undeniable.
Yeah.
This guy is a machine. He has grown the Trump organization portfolio dramatically, and he's going to come to this event and tell you how he organizes his day. He's going to teach you work ethic. You got Amanda Grace in the place. You have Julie Green. You got Pastor Dave Scarlett. But beyond that, you're going to be filled with the room will be filled with hundreds, not exaggerating, hundreds of everyday success stories. They're going to be there. We have a client from Canada, Josh Spurl, that will be there. He's now one of the most successful accountants in all of Canada. He's been a client forever. He's going to come and share with you how he did it. We have people like Fern Valley. For anybody who doesn't know, Fern Valley Soaps. I think you mentioned them on your broadcast.
Oh yeah, we love Sandra Fry.
The goat milk, Sandra.
Stacey's one of the cleanest people you ever meet.
I travel with my soap from Sandra. I really love Fern Valley soap. They're amazing.
Fern Valley's a shameless plug. FernValleySoaps.com. Sandra, this woman works as unto the Lord. She is trying to wow you because she's trying to wow God. She works as unto the Lord. So if you're saying, Clay, I feel like right now I'm a little burnt out. I'm with my job, my career. I don't know how to get unstuck. I want to be filled with an excitement for my life again. I want to have a career that makes me want to run to work every day. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. As of right now, we have 52 tickets left.
Wow.
September 25, 26, September 25, 26. There'll be about 500 people in attendance. And again, it's September 25, 26, thrivetimeshow.com. If you use promo code FLYOVER, you have a chance to win a backstage pass. You also get a discount off those VIP tickets. Again, thrivetimeshow.com. $250 for a ticket or whatever price you want to pay. Final two concepts I want to make sure we get in here. Concept number 6 or tip number 6 is work is sacrifice to God. How we work is a sacrifice to God. I see so many people that are like, I want to show. I hear it all the time. And I'm not being critical of people that are sincerely trying to seek God, but I hear it all the time. It's probably because I'm 44 years old. Young people say, I just want to give back more to God. I want to make a bigger impact. I go, did you know that the word work means worship? This isn't like a be the best employee ever commercial. I'm just saying, I tell these employees, I say, look, just work as unto the Lord. And then every day, what you did today is a sacrifice for God. So don't be the best, salesperson I have for me. Don't do it for you. Do it for God. Go get them. Do it for God. And there's a mindset shift. And I think about J.T. Lawson, who worked here for years. Now he's gone on to open a very successful company called MakeYourDogEpic.com. I think about James, who still works here. These guys, they are working as unto the Lord. I think about Andrew working as unto the Lord. I think about there's a handful of people I can think of where these guys, they're not working as unto men. They're working as unto the Lord, and they are having so much success in what they do. And final point I want to get in here, point number 7, is how you work is a reflection of your relationship with God. How you work is a reflection of that. So people use the word intimacy might mean into me you see, or into me I see intimacy, right? If you are like a really bad employee, a really bad business owner, if you just really, really do a bad job in the marketplace and you really under deliver, you overpromise, you under deliver, you scam people, you take advantage of people, you cut corners and deliver a subpar work ethic or subpar product, that's letting people know that you haven't read past Genesis, which, by the way, is the first book in the Bible. That lets people know that you probably have a bizarre relationship with God. You think it's like an on and off switch, and I can relate to that. There was a time in my life where I did that. But you might be the kind of person who says, man, I'm going to worship like you wouldn't believe on Sunday morning. But at work, I'm going to be hopping on my phone, scrolling through Instagram, hanging out in the bathroom, leaving work early, getting there late, pretending like I'm doing something, perpetually engaging in jackassery. during the workplace. But then when I go to church on Sunday, oh, brother, I'm going to be bringing it. I'm going to be worshiping. You can't do that. The word integrity means indivisible. And so you're watching today's show. And Dave, I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate Stacy. I want to celebrate Colton, because I've watched you guys behind the scenes and how you greet people. And I was telling you before the show, Eric Trump has specifically said to me multiple times, but there's one, and we were in Detroit, and he arrives on the campus. He gets there at the campus of the church for the Reawaken tour, and he says, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good." He says, "Where are those flyover guys? Where are those guys?" And he specifically sought you out. Now, mind you, I had introduced over the years Eric to many different podcasters and many different people, but he's like, "Where are those guys?" He wanted to meet you. He was super excited, and the way you treated every guest, whether they were a household name or not, it was desirable. And Eric was such, and that's why when you guys do live events, you know, the people who listen to your show are always so excited to meet you, because they will tell me, they'll go, "I met Dave and Stacy at that Elijah Streams thing, and those guys are awesome."
Yeah.
It's because you are working as unto the Lord. So I just want to celebrate the Flyover Conservatives, what you guys are doing. You really are setting a great example of what it means to work as unto the Lord. And it's an honor to be on this program.
Clay, one of the things I want
Clay.
to end it on here is, sometimes I think when, everybody talks about, getting to heaven and what heaven will be like and this kind of stuff. And I think they equate it to like, it'll be easy. There'll be great. And I don't know, maybe it will be. I have no idea. I've not been there. I'm excited. But I look at like the Garden of Eden was like a sin-free, perfect, amazing scenario. And God created it and put Adam and Eve in there and told them to work.
Yeah.
I mean, there was still work. Like before there was even stress, before there was, bugs or disease or myocarditis or any of these things, they were working. There was no Fauci and Bill Gates and all the stuff we kind of fight against, and the deep state, and there was none of that, and they were working. And I kind of look at who are the happiest people that you ever want to meet, and the clock moves slow when you're avoiding work. The day drags on. You're wasting time when you're hustling. It goes fast. The Amish community has almost like zero suicide rate. Zero, and they also have no retirement age.
Yeah.
You go to school through 8th grade. You learn how to read, write real well. Then you learn a trade, and you work. You work as long as you can still move. Maybe you're less effective at 75 than you were at 35. But you're still on the site. There's a barn lifting. You still show up. There's a storm and limbs come down. The whole community shows up. But they're serving. They're working. And I kind of look at the happiest people that I meet are the most productive people, the ones that are showing up early.
Yep.
And there's spare time. It's like, hey, let me help you with that. You need a hand. You need, there's a joy that comes from it. I look at our world today, and it's full of depression. I think 23% of 18-year-olds are on an SSRI. We're trying to find ways to overcome it, and we've demonized suffering.
Yeah.
And everything the devil offers is like ease. It's better. Even offered Jesus, like, hey, if you don't want to do that whole cross thing, I can give you all the power you want. All you got to do is I'll make it easy. I'll make it easy for you. Is bow down to me, and you don't have to do all that stuff that's in your plan. It's like there's an easier way. And I just think we as a culture need to like separate ourselves from the world and embrace suffering, embrace working, embrace staying early, how tired, like all these things. And you bring that every day. And I love you mentioned JT, you mentioned Andrew, the culture that you've created of embracing that work ethic, of showing up at 5 a.m, show up at 6 a.m, and then it becomes competitive and self-policing of how much can we get done, how productive we can be. And those are the happiest people. And this may not have been an episode about how to be happy, but I think on the other side of every one of these tips, all 7 of them, is joy.
Yep.
There's pleasure, higher self-esteem. People, I want a better self-esteem. I need more compliments. I need to do more affirmations. No, you probably need to
work harder.
You need to sweat more.
Yeah.
And hustle more. You need some blisters. And that's what you bring to the world. And I'm thankful for it. And you bring it to the show, no matter what the topic is. The other side of it is there's a joy and a hard work that you embrace and celebrate, and we need more of that in our country. That's what makes America great right there.
So we celebrate you back, Clay. Really appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys for carving out time. And again, anybody out there, I'm telling you, I wish I did a better job of communicating this to everybody. But if you are stuck, there is an opportunity for you to be successful, regardless of your age or your current wage. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Come join us at our in-person workshop. I want to shake your hand. I want to meet you. I promise it will change your life.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called djconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and people that parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 a.m. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. This is The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's what was on Clay, this technology. You tell your group I was so impressed. Because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So, Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about, is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay, and what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to 100% growth. We're a full functioning company. It's great. We're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious, they're fun, they're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly, incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive, but I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or when was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay, and let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business? Or was that something that you were maybe excited about or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're going to fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.
Whoa.